What exactly is cognitive behavioral therapy?
Our emotions can be overwhelming. Everything's fine one moment, and the next moment you can be flooded with a tempest of swirling thoughts and negative feelings. Most people in a psychologist's office come to their first appointment tortured by emotions and thoughts that seem to be taking over their lives. Their emotions define their daily activities, and they just can't seem to regain control. They regularly experience thoughts that seem catastrophic and discouraging. They don't understand how to fix the problem of chronically feeling anxious and depressed, and they often resort to self-sabotaging coping skills like oversleeping, overeating, self-medicating with drugs or alcohol, or altogether hiding from the world. Life is narrowed, pacified, and safe, but nothing is ever solved. Cognitive behavioral therapy is the psychological treatment model that has the highest success rate of all psychotherapies according to research. This approach presents a totally different method of dealing with troublesome emotions. Rather than allowing feelings to direct our lives and steal our happiness, cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, recognizes the close relationship between thoughts, feelings, and actions. Now, here are a few ways this therapeutic approach will work. Correcting inaccurate thoughts. Actions and feelings begin with your thoughts, and if those thoughts are based on inaccurate beliefs, they can lead you into a dark place. Negative personal schemas or sets of beliefs can seem accurate when they occur, but like light refracted through a dirty, inaccurate lens, they are often slanted towards the negative and are completely misleading. Through CBT, we can clean the lens and make your thoughts more optimistic, effective, and accurate. Taming your emotions. Again, thoughts lead to feelings, and your feelings determine your behaviors. When your negative, inaccurate thoughts are in the driver's seat, you are bound to end up off course. Your emotions are treated like facts and are often used to determine what to do next. They are not questioned, and they are not denied. We endow them with a credibility that is undeserved. Psychologists call this emotional reasoning. CBT works to reestablish the critical relationship between thoughts, facts, and emotions in decision-making to help you make the best choice in the future. Dodging thinking traps. Many people do not realize that their thoughts distinctly trend toward the negative. Many of us make unfair comparisons of ourselves to others, or we overgeneralize a challenge as defining our past, present, and future. CBT teaches you some of the most common types of thinking traps, and it helps you to develop a new way of thinking about and overcoming adversity. Fighting back. One of the main strategies of CBT is disputing your negative thoughts and correcting your thinking if it gets off course. CBT teaches you how to make your mind work for you instead of against you. By arguing against inaccurate thoughts and emotions, you will find your mind to be clearer, calmer, and more optimistic.
I need to learn some tools of cognitive behavioral therapy.
We are going to cover several cognitive behavioral and emotional tools. I'm going to share a variety of information with you for things to think about practicing later and throughout your life. These tools do take a lot of practice and patience, and my hope is to give you exposure to them so that you can find ways on your own to continue to practice them. And we're going to start with some tools related to thoughts. So one tool when it comes to thoughts is to be able to objectively observe your thoughts. So this is a challenging skill at times. And so if you imagine, if you take a minute to, there's different ways that people like to do this, but imagining thoughts and seeing your thoughts like leaves passing on a river. Or for some people, they like to see them on a conveyor belt passing by. And so taking a moment, even in this moment, to close your eyes and try to notice what are some of the things that you tell yourself, and noticing some of your thoughts, not trying to judge them, just that they are, and being able to be the observer of your thoughts. Maybe you notice thoughts about your to-do list, or your mind kind of goes to a variety of places. Including thoughts, maybe you have images of things that kind of pop in your head, and you working on being the observer of those thoughts. Okay. And go ahead and bring your focus back to the room. So that's a pretty challenging skill, and to develop that, you might want to take a meditation class or mindfulness meditation. There are different ways to work on developing our ability to observe our thoughts. Another thing about thoughts is we want to be able to remember that thoughts aren't facts. We can have all sorts of thoughts. You know, I might drive by a bank and think, oh, what would it be like to rob that bank? Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Maybe 6 months ago I saw a movie where someone robbed a bank that looked just like that bank. And so that thought popped in my head. So we can have all sorts of thoughts pop in our head. I don't have control over who knocks at the door, but I do have control over how long I entertain them. You know, so how much time I spend with that thought and really putting energy into that thought, I do have some control over that. But we can have all sorts of thoughts that pop in our head. I could think, oh, right now you're all judging me. You know, and it may not be a fact. And so we can just have thoughts pop in our head all the time, and it's important to remember that they're not facts. Another thing about thoughts is we want to know how thoughts trigger feelings. So when it comes to situations, we often believe that the situation triggered the feeling that we have. When actually, the situation, we interpret the situation, and that interpretation often triggers the feeling that we have. So an example of that would be, I go to the store and I give the lady my money, and she pushes the change at me. And I think to myself, what, does she think she's better than me? What's her problem? So that's the interpretation of her pushing the change at me. What feeling might I feel from that interpretation?
Maybe irritation or, I don't know, anger.
Yeah, so I might feel irritated or angry. So if I give the lady my money and she pushes the change at me, the exact same event, the exact same way, and I think to myself, wow, it's probably late in her shift, she's probably tired. What feeling might I feel?
Sympathy.
Yeah, so I might have sympathy. And I might think, oh boy, I'm glad I don't have her job. And I might even smile at her. You know? And so the event didn't change. It's the interpretation of the event that changes. So part of it is noticing what our interpretations are and that they do trigger our feelings. Now, it isn't that all our feelings are in our head. Now, if I give the lady the money and she slaps me and I get angry, I didn't imagine that, right? Lots of times life has painful moments, but sometimes it is really our interpretation that is turning up the heat on that pain and kind of looking at how our interpretations trigger feelings. So one way to practice this skill is being able to observe your feeling and then ask yourself, what did I tell myself about that situation? What is the interpretation in the middle that's triggering this feeling? Another skill is the skill of being able to shift perspectives. So when I think about shifting perspectives, you know, how interpretations trigger feelings, even shifting a little thing like a word. Now, if I say to myself, I have to work, I have to study, I have to go to class, I might feel a little trapped. But if I say, I choose to go to work because I like to have a roof over my head and food in the fridge, no. I choose to study because I like to get good grades. I choose to go to class because I might learn something. That's going to have a different impact on how we feel. And so being able to shift perspectives a little bit. When I think about shifting perspectives, I think of the old story of the blind men and the elephant. So there's a very old story of several blind men describing an elephant. And one is at the side of the elephant going, an elephant is like a wall. That's what an elephant's like. And another is at the leg going, no, an elephant's like a tree. That's what an elephant's like. And another one's at the tail going, an elephant is like a twig. That's what an elephant's like. And another is at the nose going, an elephant's like a snake. That's what an elephant's like. And they're all arguing and arguing. And in some ways they're right, but when it comes to what an elephant is truly like, they're all wrong because they're limited in their perspective. And so thinking about that sometimes, that we all come to a situation with a certain perspective, certain life experience that maybe is limited. And so the skill of being able to shift perspectives, work ourselves around that elephant. You know, right now I'm telling myself this about this situation. What's 5 other ways that I can look at it? So that's a way to practice it. Asking yourself, what are some other ways that I can look at this? Now, in part 1, we talked about interpersonal stress being a stressor. Stress between relationships. Well, that's also, when I work with couples sometimes couples get stuck in their perspective. So one is like at the side going, it's a wall, and the other one's, it's a leg, yeah, it's a tree, you know, and they sit there really stuck in their perspectives, trying to convince each other of their perspective and not taking the time to be curious about the other person's perspective. Huh, you're saying it feels like a tree? Okay, tell me more about that. What's that like for you? And so trying to put ourselves in other people's shoes and communicating. But when we get too stuck in trying to justify our perspective, we miss out on learning from other people and putting ourselves in other people's shoes and getting the big picture.
This track is by an MC called Oruku Sake, straight out of Oakland, California. It's called Hip Hop Soul, Zulu Nation.
We bring the funk out of your trunk when it comes from the end of the week to the middle of the month. All around the globe, taking control, bringing back that original hip-hop soul. I'm breaking the mold from the new to old, cause we're never ever gonna let that hip-hop go. Call it all B-boys hitting the floor, MCs on the mic start kicking the floor. Riders in the subway, trains and doors, CJs going either and spinning with yours. Pick it up, party people in a place to be. Go and move with the rhythm and shake to the beat. We make this music to enjoy yourself. Don't worry about a thing, cause I'm here to help. From the middle of your city to the middle of your town. Get up, get up, get up and get down. Move like a bass line, drop with the great rhyme. Don't waste time, that's not how I make mine. Reach for the top, build from the bottom. Winter, spring, summer, autumn. All 4 elements to show that we got them. So you know it ain't stopping when we all start rocking. Keep it popping, dropping so fresh and never rocking. With the skills on the mic, it's the top notch pop. From the bay to the land of the rising sun. With the real hip hop, we unite as one. Then we rock all day till the night is done. Celebrate in your life, don't wait, have fun. I hit a mic and take flight under the stage light. Picture my life and erase the fake light. Pop into the crowd, always keeping it loud. Do it no better time to do it than now. Never get fake on when my people break on. Air flare, head spin, something to take on. Up rock, 2-step, shuffle and robot. Popping like the spot, block so hot. Graffiti on a freight train, call it a great stain. Throw-ups, pieces, all on your mainframe. One-liners, heaven, something you can't tame. The world looks better through a can of spray paint. Turntables, mixers, faders. Dance for now, take pictures later. Juggle with the records, scratch on the track. Pull a couple bars back and the song smack. MCs just go, spit a freestyle flow. Hit them off with the skill, just letting them know. Beatbox, acapella, spit a hot 16. Hold it down in the battle, and you know what I mean.
You're listening to Oruku Sake, straight off YouTube.
Eurekalive, I hold it down at the top. Well, yeah, I can make the beat snap, crackle, and pop. I was born to move, don't have to stop. So I couldn't refuse when the bass line dropped. On a mission from the first step, birth to rap of a hip-hop samurai, lyrical vet. Coming from the level where the spirit connects. It's surprising that I ain't performed a miracle yet. I got too many ways to go to choose one. If you can't give truth, you'll be losing some. Step up to the battle, hide from none. Take the righteous path, don't refuse to come. True pioneers of the hip-hop game. With the money and the fame didn't seem to change. Even with the need to gain and maintain. Never forgot the place from where we came. This Eurekalive represent Bay Area, California, and you know what I'm saying? San Francisco, Oakland, and my boy Yakko holding it down, doing worldwide all the time with that real hip hop, bringing that funk straight to you. None of that fake watered down hip hop, you know what I mean? That R&B, rap and bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Boy, that's how we hold it down. Big up. Go to your man over the side, hit me up when you get to the thing. Straight up, that's how we do it.
Yeah, that was Eurekalive, Bay Area rapper. Thank you for listening to Eurekalive.